someone had previously told me was the right thing to do. And it wasn't until I got to college where I had my first full-time goalkeeper coach who, was educating me, empowering me, giving me information. And, my career like really took off. But it was crazy because I did well in my 5 years of college. But then when I went pro, it became hard. It felt hard. It felt really, really hard. Like it felt like, relying on your instincts wasn't just good enough anymore. Like I had to put more care, more attention, and more thought process into becoming the best goalkeeper that I could be. And we trained in a very, very specific manner. And, my career was jump-started by training under Hope Solo, who is the most athletic goalkeeper I ever worked with and was able to just do ridiculous stuff. But she also needed some support on the more technical refining pieces of her game, which is why she liked to work with me. But I knew that was like one of my X factors at that point because I was coachable. And then it became my demise because everything had to be perfect. I had to do every single little thing. If my elbow was off by 1 degree, I was upset. Even if I caught the ball, like if my chest was back and I still caught the ball, I was mad at myself. Like I just became over analytical and a perfectionist, which ultimately led to my downfall because that's not how the game is played, right? We have to be so adaptable. We have to be effective. And I was so caught up in being perfect that I actually took away from all the other things that I could do efficiently really well. And I got so caught up in these things that it ultimately led me to starting to hide what I wasn't good at. It really led me to starting to hide like my left foot because I wasn't very good at it. And so because I didn't want people to see that I wasn't competent with my left foot, I didn't want everyone to know it. I just never used it. And because I never used it, I never got better at it. And I was so unwilling to make mistakes in training that it took away the purpose of practice. The practice is to get better, right? And because I hid that left foot because I didn't want anyone to know it wasn't competent, I never got better at it. And when it came to the games, I wasn't comfortable. And in my head, I was like, I really hope it doesn't come back to my left foot because if it does, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it. And that became a piece of me that was always fearful and always doubting, right? And you really can't compartmentalize confidence. You can't compartmentalize like, oh yeah, I'm really good at this, but I'm not going to let my fear of it coming back to my left foot impact anything else. It's just all one, right? And because ultimately I never grew in possession, that was something that, I didn't get to that, my highest aspiration. I didn't get to that highest level of like unlocking my most potential and my best self because I was too afraid that if I let this part out of me that I couldn't be confident too, right? Like it was a very fragile and frail confidence because I was so afraid if I had a bad practice, I was going to get cut. Or if I didn't perform well in my game, I wasn't going to get called back to the national team. And because my preparation that week wasn't good, I wasn't going to play well, and then I was going to get cut. And we've all been down the road where we catastrophize everything, right?
Oh yeah.
But I really think if I would have went back, like that would be the one piece of myself that I would love to just give my younger self a hug and tell my younger self, like, hey, take a breath. You're supposed to fail. You're supposed to fail right now. It's okay to make mistakes. Like that means you're getting better. Like, if your mentality piece is right during those mistakes, you get better. Whether you have a successful rep or whether you don't, you don't need a successful rep to improve. You just need the right mindset and the right awareness around whatever it is that you're trying to work on, right? And I think I was just so caught up in being perfect that I couldn't allow myself to fail. And I couldn't allow myself to like really process what it is that I was working on, what it is I was learning. And like, I couldn't process the information available to me so that when I got into games, oh my gosh, you guys, I was an ice cube. I was so frozen because I wasn't sure what to do, right?
Yeah.
I hadn't really wrestled with, should I go or should I stay? It was just something I always tried to err on the side of like not making a mistake and looking dumb. And because I never pushed myself out of my comfort zone in training, I didn't get to earn the confidence when it came to game day. And I also didn't get to earn the fact that if I made a mistake in a game, I could still be confident because in training, my training never reflected that. Like, and it's not anyone else's fault but my own. My training never reflected make mistakes, wrestle. It's sticky. Work on my resilience and work on my grit and my determination and my confidence, even though it's sticky and hard. And then when it came to a game, when I made a mistake, it was like, oh my gosh, my world is crumbling underneath of me. I don't know. Does any of that resonate with you?
I mean, all of it except for being one of the whatever 26 or whatever you are of the women's national team. I couldn't agree more. That was my ultimate demise, and I think it's funny because you say it right. Like, what made you great was your attention to detail and your like relentlessness to perfect your craft, but ultimately it also was part of your demise. And I feel the same way. Like, I could just get obsessed with soccer, and I still could get obsessed with what we do until I burn myself into the ground. I'm like, I'm sick and I need to take 2 days off because I'm hacking a lung, right? Like, it's easy when you love something to just get so intertwined with it and to become like obsessed or so passionate about it that like perfection is almost what you're trying to obtain without taking a step back and being like, oh wait, perfection isn't attainable, but this progress I can make is going to sustain.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Keeper Institute podcast. My name is Tori Corsaro. I'm a strength and conditioning and goalkeeper coach here at the Keeper Institute and your host for today's show. The Keeper Institute is a unique goalkeeper training facility in New Jersey aimed at developing better goalkeepers and better people. On this podcast, we will be discussing all things goalkeeping, character development, and more.
Back to another episode of the Keeper Institute podcast.
Another one. There you
nice.
Go. That's new.
Where did the button go?
Oh, the button? Here it is.
Thank you.
You're
Don't
welcome.
forget about that.
We can move on.
Right. We won't keep talking about it. I just do need to tell you that, like, I'm feeling myself in this new West Coast hoodie. We brought it up already. We've talked about it, but these were sent to us, and I just think that this might be my favorite apparel of all time.
It is good looking. I did wear it all weekend.
It is good looking. Thanks for calling me good looking.
Oh, golly.
Was it not
Your
me?
Your head's already big enough. Your head's already big enough.
My headphones won't fit. All right. Topic time. We're talking about maximizing your capabilities today. So we've talked about different things on this podcast, tech, mental, character, all those things. But today we're going to hone in and we're going to talk a little bit about how you can maximize your capabilities. Doesn't matter if you're young, if you're a pro, if you're somewhere in between. These are just a couple things that in our mind you could do that you might not be doing, and they can help you get a little bit better.
This is not an exhaustive list, but I think if we start bringing our attention to these things more often, we probably will take space in these areas. And just a really quick example is just think about what your neighbor's mailbox looks like right now. And I don't even know what my neighbor's mailbox looks like, even though I've driven by it thousands of times. I do not know what it looks like because I don't bring attention to it. It is not helping me survive and thrive in this world, so I don't bring attention to it. And if you don't bring attention to things in your goalkeeping game, you are going to miss them. So we want to help steer your thought process and your attention to certain areas that you can take the most space in, like the biggest gains, potential gains that you can take, the low-hanging fruit, if you will, for today, so that you can be the best you can. Because this is a position that is often overlooked, undereducated, and misunderstood. And because of that, it's really difficult for us to thrive. So we want to help you bring some attention.
Feel misunderstood.
Yeah. Isn't that a name of a Pink album or maybe a song?
I don't know. I'm not well versed with Pink.
Okay. Anyway, you're starting us off. Start the list off.
Number 1, you gotta be fit. Like, get fit, get strong. And I'm not saying go out and run like a midfielder. You are not a 7. You're not an 11. You're not going to be logging mad miles. But you can be quick. You can be fast. You can be agile. And you can be strong. And those things will help you maximize your capabilities technically and tactically. Because if I feel fast and I feel like I've maximized, my agility and how quick my 1-2 steps are, I bet you I'm going to feel a lot more confident protecting the space. I'm going to feel a lot more confident to be a preventative goalkeeper because I can take that space. I can push off from farther away. I can really maximize, my range and how much I can shot prevent in. So I don't think it's necessarily go out and run forever. I don't care if my goalkeepers can run forever. I care that they're quick off their line. They have a general aerobic capacity that they can make it through a tough training session, and that they're strong so that they can stay healthy and they can be explosive.
Oh, it's the one thing that changed my game when I became a goalkeeper at a higher level. My coach was like, you need to get fit. And I was like, well, I've never been fit in my life. And once I got fit, I was like, dang, I'm never going back. I'm never going back.
This is nice.
Yeah, this is nice. This is so effortless. And like my first rep looked the same as my 10th rep because I wasn't so fatigued and completely dying on the field, right? And so that's like another benefit of being fit is like you can last longer in training, and because you can last longer in training, you have more opportunities to get better and improve. And there's nothing worse. There is nothing worse than feeling like you can't breathe and that your quads are, on fire, and now you're having to think about applying feedback. I don't know about you, but like if I'm even now as an adult, like if I'm on the treadmill and my heart rate is over 150, I can't do simple math. So like, if you're unfit and you're trying to apply feedback in the moment, it's a lot harder.
It is tough.
Yeah, it is tough. All right, I got number 2, and I'm excited because I think that this one is actually something you might need support with in terms of like getting better. But I think understanding the game more deeply is something that is immediately going to help you be a better goalkeeper, because not only one, can you make decisions reflective of what the environment is giving you or the information that's available to you, but you're also able to play to your strengths more. Right. So if I understand the game and I know the ball's in behind the back line, which is a podcast that we did a few weeks ago, you guys go back and look at that one in space defense. But if I know the ball's in behind the back line, I know, okay, I need to get there first. If you can get there first, great. You can snuff it out and be as preventative as possible. But if not, all right, I know that the ball is bouncing. So that makes it harder for me. So I'm going to reposition to defend the goal. If you understand those principles of the position, you can recognize the information more freely and quickly, but also you can play to your strengths more often as well, which makes you more effective goalkeeper when you're playing to your strengths. And if you guys need some support with understanding the game, we have a class called TKI University, which is for goalkeepers all over the world. We have someone from Thailand in our class right now. We have players all over the US, and we meet 3 times a month, 2 as a class and 1 as an individual meeting. 1 is with me on the Tech Tac, 1 is with Dr. Christiana Ogunsami now. She talks about the mental side, and we want to support you understanding the game because it's so, again, like I say, it's misunderstood and people overcomplicate it when it actually really isn't that overcomplicated. If you have some simple principles, you can interpret the position based on your skill set, based on the environment that's before you, and crush it more consistently.
That's good. That's really good.
All right.
Number 3.
Yeah, we're up to number 3.
Number 3 bleeds in kind of to the tactical side of understanding. Game understanding is like, I think the character part, right? Like both come down to not necessarily just what you could do and produce on the field, but how you perceive and how you handle things on the field has a really big play on, your decision making and your training mentality. I think one area that you could do to maximize your capabilities is just learn how to handle failure better. Learn how to handle failure better. Learn how you best maybe apply or receive feedback. That way you can take the most out of each training session. Find a few things that help you through the hard moments, but also understand who you are as a goalkeeper. Like, am I really resilient and courageous? Or maybe my strengths are the fact that I am willing to go out and try new things. I'm very I guess exploratory. Is that a word?
Curious.
I don't know. Curious. Yeah, thanks, Jill. Yeah. You always got my back. That's a bestie right there.
I got you.
You got to understand these things about yourself, and you also have to know the ones that maybe you struggle. Maybe I have a really, really hard time bouncing back from adversities. So I want to tap into that. I want to work on that. I want to help myself get better at that by maybe asking for feedback from my coaches more often, or maybe sitting down and being like, I struggle really bad when this happens. Like, what is something you see that I could do? Because your coach is watching you. Like, I know sometimes they don't say every single thing they're seeing, but there are things where I'm like, okay, I could really help that person if they're open to that feedback. And sometimes I wait a little bit and then I say it. Or, if they came to me and was like, hey, how do you notice I react when I get scored on 3 times in a row? This is what I see. right?
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of like weight in what other people are seeing or how they're seeing me react too, because then I could get a better idea of like, I think inwardly, like I'm not showing those emotions, but outwardly maybe I am. So I think just to sum this one up, working on that mental side of your game, which shout out, we just did a podcast on that, how you can kind of tiptoe around that perfectionism, bust through the door and try to get rid of it so that you can focus on your progress. So if you haven't listened to that, make sure that you highlight that one. But overall, take some time to focus on your mental game. Know what character strengths you excel with, know what character strengths maybe you need a little more help with, and take the time to prepare yourself to go through those things.
Okay, this is a piggybacking off what you said. So I spoke to a colleague on the phone today, and she said that she works with a goalkeeper at the college level, and that someone, a coach at the pro level and beyond, said that she'll never get to the pro level because, can you insert what you think the answer was? What was the thing that disqualified her from being a top level goalkeeper at the pro level?
Lacks confidence.
No.
Presence.
No, I'll give you 2 more guesses.
Ooh. Not coachable.
No.
I don't know. You've stumped me.
Okay. So this is good. So she said that a coach at the next level told her that the goalkeeper that she works with will never get to the pro level because she's too small. And
I thought we were talking about mentality.
oh, no, just in general.
Oh, okay.
Okay. They said that she's too small. And I thought to myself, wow. And she asked me, she said, do you agree with this? I said, no, I don't agree with that. I don't think that there's a specific size that you need to be. She said, well, they said to her that she has to be 5'10" or above. And I was like, oh, that's curious, because like you would miss out on a lot of goalkeepers in our league if you had to be 5'10", or, I don't think Alyssa Nair was 5'10", but anyway, I was thinking to myself of like, actually, what would disqualify someone from maybe being at that next level, at the pro level or the national team level or whatever? And if I asked you that, what would you say? What would disqualify someone? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Being a bad person.
Yeah. To me, that's the only thing. It's like having
a bad teammate.
Having bad character, like consistently having bad character. And like, I shared this story with the interns today before training and the college drop-in before training. And I asked them the question, and they actually did get it. They did get the size thing. One of the 4 of them said it. And I asked them, what would disqualify you? And they said, being a bad teammate. And I was like, yeah, you're having, displaying consistently bad character is definitely a disqualifier for me. And I said to them, I want you to not share. I said, don't share out loud, but I want you to ponder what your greatest insecurity is, because we all have them. We all have them. As a goalkeeper or as a person, is like, what is your greatest insecurity? And they thought about it. And I said, no, it's never going to disqualify you from being the goalkeeper or person that you want to be. And whatever. You're not fit enough. You're not fast enough. You're not this. You're not that. That's never going to disqualify you from being the goalkeeper and unlocking the potential that you have, or being the best person that you can be. The only thing that ever can disqualify you is you showing up with bad character. And it just to piggyback off your point of like the mentality piece, is like, you guys can improve on whatever you work on, but you can't unless you display good character, right? I'm not talking about being nice and kind. It is part of it, but I'm talking about being resilient. I'm talking about displaying grit. I'm talking about determination, talking about courage and bravery and wrestling with your identity when you make mistakes, right? It's not about just, oh, I need to be nice to you. No, it's about being so gritty, so gritty. Yeah. And also being a great teammate is very important too. Like, there's a moral performance and there is there's moral character and there's performance character. Moral character is really important, but performance character is equally as important to those things, right? I want to be a good person from around other people, and I want to be the best person to myself. That's what character means for me, right? And I just want to encourage anybody listening to this, is like, you might not feel like you're the grittiest person but you can tap into that thing. And just like, you know, your muscles grow, your quads and your biceps and your hammies, they all grow. So can your grit, so can your resilience, so can your heart. That's really what it comes down to, right? And so by putting a little attention to that, by bringing some awareness to, when am I gritty? When am I resilient? When can I display a little bit more of that? It's going to, one, give you more confidence, because you're like, dang, with a little grit, a little resilience, look what I did. Look what I was able to accomplish. And then that's going to grow your curiosity, because you're like, dang, what else can I do? What else can I do? And yeah, that is, I think, piggybacking off what you said in terms of character. If you put a little more attention to that, it's going to equally make you a great person and a better goalkeeper.
Yeah. No extra money, a little extra time, no physical sweat.
Nothing.
Just like game understanding. Just a little Saturday practice, if you will.
All right. I got a good question for you to wrap this one up.
Bow, bow, bow.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, Jillian.
I know. That's like a deep one, right? Okay. I'm going to tell you why I'm going to ask this question, okay?
Okay.
People ask me all the time, what do you want your kids to be? What do you want your kids to do? What do you want them to be? Like, you want them to be soccer players? You want them to be goalkeepers? You want them to play this? I'm like, I literally don't care. I don't care. Okay.
Yeah.
That is why I asked you this question.
Okay. I thought about this before. And so much so I even have this tattoo. It's a little eyeball with a tree in it, because if you want to plant trees you'll never see. And I think for me, the most important part about like my legacy would be that I treated people really, really well. I treated people well, and I helped them feel like a sense of joy and light in their life. And whether it be because they realized they could do something they didn't know they were capable of, or I helped them along their way in their journey. I just want to leave a legacy of kindness, joy, and support.
Yeah, I love that. So my answer to this question about my kids being, what do you want them to be? What do you want them to do? And I'm like, I don't care. You know why I don't care? Because we all have different things that we enjoy, and I want them to do what they enjoy, right? And for a long time, I would say, I just want them to be happy. I just want them to be happy. I just want them to be happy. I'm like, oh, God, that's not real life, right? I get to pursue my passion every day. I get to do what I love every single day. Not happy all the time, right? And I think that's a huge misconception, is that even though I get to coach and I love it, love it, I'm not happy every single day when I do it. And there's really, really hard days. There's really hard days that I have to challenge myself of like, who am I showing up right now? Whatever. It could be because I'm feeling insecure. It could be because I'm tired. It could be because I've done too much, or it could be because I'm not prepared. It could be any of those things, right? But I changed saying what I want my kids to be. And my hope is that they are resilient and loving. And I hope that's my legacy, is that I want to be a resilient human being for myself, so that I can pursue my ambitions and dreams and aspirations. But also I want to be the most loving person with those, you know, whatever it is that I want to do. I want to be the most loving person to other people. So the resilience is for me and the loving is for other people, but that's what I hope my legacy is.
That's good. It's good stuff, JL.
So that's for the parents. The whole podcast was for players and parents. The question was just mostly for the parents, because you guys get to bring attention to whatever your kids, like your legacy is your kids. And so, you know, you get to show up and be the role model of whatever you want that legacy to be.
Speaking of legacy.
Oh boy.
Who's got a glove legacy for you?
Oh, what?
Glove legacy. Also, there's a dog fight happening in my house.
I hear it.
24/7. Anytime I'm on the phone.
Oh gosh.
Come on, tell them. Who's the best goalkeeping glove brand of all time?
Oh, I'm sorry. You had me for a second. You guys, the best glove brand of all time is West Coast, and they are a glove sponsor and equipment supplier at TKI, and they make gloves for everybody from the beginner to the pro. They represent over 100 pros around the world, including our favorites: Kalen Sheridan, Matt Turner, Liv Saccani, all of our favorites. And they have over 40 models available, and they have a glove for you. And so you just go to westcoastgoalkeeping.com, and then after that, come over to our website and get some information on goalkeeping, and reach out to us if you need any support. We care about you guys. We love you so much. It's why we do this podcast, because we want to help you take your next steps and support you, whether you live in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Montana, or California. We care so deeply about you and helping you become the best person and goalkeeper that you can be. Reach out anytime so we can help you unlock your potential. And until then, we'll catch you later.
Catch you later.